should be going live any minute now.
Okay, cool. So if I talk, would people hear me, or do we have to wait? Okay, that's always fun.
Yeah, it's live.
Like, mic check 1, 2. Is this thing on? Cool. Hello everyone, this is Mad Triqsters here. I am joined by Rob.
Hello.
Rob de Bob. He is going to be streaming, I'm going to be casting. You may hear him, well, yeah, he'll be managing the camera, and long may he do a good job. We are casting the Futterwacken tourney, the second one, Mad Hatter's Futterwacken tourney, and this is the quarterfinals. I believe it's the third or maybe even the fourth game of the quarterfinals. I'm not quite sure if the fourth one's been played. I know the first two have. And it's going to be GGT versus Mad Triqsters. I don't know, is there anything you want to say about these guys? I know you had some comments about some of the Mad Triqsters players, Rob.
Well, they have a great jungler. That's pretty much all that I have to say. The matchup looks quite unfair, but you can never judge the players until the game starts.
Yeah, now you were saying the jungler was Hemocorax.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's interesting that you say you can't judge. It is true. It's silvers with good teamwork can beat platinums. I know I've been silvers with good teamwork has beaten my team of golds quite handily in ranked 5s back when that was a thing. No more. But yeah, it is definitely a threat. Good teamwork's always a very big problem against just individually skilled players. And just looking at the one-sidedness of the matches that you referenced there, I mean, it's 4 platinums and a diamond versus 3 silvers and 2 unranks. And you never really know what unranked really means in this game, but I see Lookits and the follower both are fairly experienced with 1300 and 900 game wins respectively. So yeah, if we just have a look at the road they've gone through here, it won't be up on the screen, but if we look here, we've got the Mad Triqsters actually had to beat Logic Clan to make it through the first round, and then they had to beat the AG Guardians, or Ach Guardians, I'm not entirely sure there, it's a small G, and to make it through to the quarters, where GGT had to beat Exposing Mind Games and Berserker, to get through to the quarterfinals, and all those matches were 2-0. I've only got stats of one of those games in front of me, and we have a look here. Look here, I think the stats are quite impressive. It looks like the games were both over very quickly, and for GGT's wins, I see in the one game their highest level was 13, and in the other one I believe it was 14. So those were over quite quickly. And I want to say, I think I saw on the stats one of their players has a current KDA of 31 because he's only died once. So that is fairly impressive. It's Treptum, in fact, who I see is not here. So there's a little bit of hope for Mad Triqsters. Their KDA King is not with them. And yeah, we've just been having some friendly pre-game chat in the lobby right now. I'm not really paying attention to that too much because it seems like friendly pre-game chat. But yeah, we'll hopefully be getting underway any time now. Rob, I don't know if you have anything you want to say while we're just chilling in the lobby.
Well, I'm just looking forward to this game, and it seems like we're starting.
Yeah, and just something that I'm going to mention right now, because it is very, very exciting to see. Mad Triqsters have 3 green ribbons, all for great teammates. So there's that teamwork we were talking about. It could actually come through. Then again, they could just lose with a smile. We'll have to see how that actually ends up. So yeah, we're into the pick bans. We are seeing that Mad Triqsters has banned out first off the Malphite with GGT going up into the Garen. I'm going to have a look here and see if either of those featured heavily in GGT's one win I actually have stats for, and it seems like no, not yet. We have Alistair being banned and Galio coming through now. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Isn't this what Faker bans? Faker banned just Garen, Galio, and Gangplank because it's the first 3 of the South Korean alphabet.
Yep, the reason why they banned Galio is because the early banter they just did here. They dared them to play
Okay,
Garen, Galio, or Tarek, so that's
Oh,
most likely
okay.
why the bans are there.
Oh, okay. No, I thought it might be a homage to Faker, but I guess not. But yeah, then we've got Lee Sin, very standard ban. Alistair, also very standard ban in the current meta. Very initiation heavy, very deadly in the hands of a skilled player. Malphite, less so much of a threat in a skilled player. It's just a general all-round threat, in my opinion. And as Rob just pointed out, Garen, Galio, and Tarek were part of that friendly banter that I was half paying attention to. Mad Triqsters were daring GGT to maybe give them advantage because it was a team of seemingly silvers versus a team of seemingly platinums and diamond. So we've got Elise as the first pickup. She's also very meta at the moment. Great engagers, early engagers. Cocoon is a great lockdown, and this is on your Hemocorax, your very skilled jungler. So we're going to be interested to see what he can do with the Spider Queen in the jungle there. On GGT side, we've got Siva, which is a great engaged champion at the moment. Very much enabling a mid and top carry champion pick coming up there, and Gragas, who's again very solid in the jungle, especially with the new runic echoes, solving all his mana problems. But it'll be interesting to see if he goes Cinder Hulk or runic echoes, just to see what happens there. So far, very generic picks from GGT and from Mad Triqsters, but we'll have to see what happens as it progresses.
I'm guessing they're gonna pick a Swain for the mid lane, because that's one of their players. And
Mad Triqsters now.
Hemocorax, he just mains Elise.
Okay.
So you should pay attention to him.
Elise is a great champion to main in the meta even. It's always good maining something that's strong. Lucian Thresh, it could be a very solid pick. Lucian, great mobility. Thresh is also again great at disengaging and following up on Elise Cocoons, all the rest. I don't really view him too much as a primary engage as much as a great follow-up, but he does have those primary engage tools. He's a great all-round champion. Disengage, engage, hard CC, soft CC, all the rest. I see Reddington and Fiora. I assume, I don't know who's picking for where, but it looks like it might be a Fiora mid lane. Just because of the Teemo. Teemo is traditionally a top lane or, I suppose, AP support sometimes. But we'll have to see where he ends up. He could actually go mid lane, and that's a shout out to Cloud9's High from a couple of years ago. But I haven't seen a Teemo mid lane in quite a while. Gragas is more likely than not the jungler at the moment. He could also go top. Yes, we've got Morgana, probably the mid laner there, and Pantheon on in the top lane. Which I do think this is actually not using Siva to her greatest potential. You've got your long range. You've got Gragas is actually almost does the same job as Siva, and Pantheon as well to an extent. With Morgana, her dark binding and her soul shackles also kind of serving to not really be something that you want to Siva ultimate in. So it's going to be interesting to see how the whole team comp plays out. And we've got Ignite on Pantheon. It might be a support Pantheon, or it might be a support.
It's his main.
Well, they could swap around still. Is he top lane Pantheon main though? Okay. Just looking here. Yeah, neither of these champs have actually appeared in the previous game. So they're showing off a diverse champion pool here, so it is kind of a case of going with what I'm seeing in front of me. Now on the other hand, we've got Ahri and Wukong coming up. Wukong also being a very strong engage and counter-engage champion. I'm not too familiar with his skills, so I can't really say them by name. But his clone into ultimate or a defensive ultimate is great at actually just disrupting the whole team comp. We see that Fiora hover again, so it does look like it's going to be a Morgana in the bottom lane. And it looks like they're picking for mid or top, depending where Pantheon feels like going. And just going back, Destro is currently sitting in the Ahri, and it'll be interesting to see who ends up where, because other than Hemocorax, I'm actually not too sure who plays where, and I'll just have to see what happens there. On the other hand, for GGT, just talking about there, Tobalao is going to be playing the Siva. by the looks of things. Ordao is going to be playing the Gragas. PT Cat is the top laner. iFlying is, I don't have information on, and Seong looks to be the support. So yeah, there's the swap. iFlying looks to be going mid with Fiora. They're running triple ignite, which is quite aggressive, and if Wukong gets going, could be a bit of a problem because they won't have any way to exhaust his initial damage while spinning away in his ultimate. I don't know, Rob, do you have any input on anything I've said here?
I think the GGT team is overestimating them, so they take triple ignite and hope to snowball the game out of control so they can finish it as quick as possible. But I'm pretty sure the Mad Triqsters have something up their sleeves.
Yeah, the Triqsters have a great team comp. They really do. The primary engage, I think, would this be Elise Cocoon, followed into Thresh Hook, into the Ahri pick. They've got that poke, they've got the wave clear from Ahri and the Lucian. They've got the hard engage from the Wukong, which is always going to be a problem. And it's going to be... Oh, I forgot about the 3 minutes. I thought that might change with the turn-on draft. Guess not. So it is going to be something that's going to be interesting to see. And they do have a very nice selection of summoner spells there. But I mean, just I suppose to break it down lane by lane here, looking at the junglers, I don't think any particular jungler has a strict advantage over the other until level 6 in terms of clearing and gang capabilities. Well, let me rephrase it. Elisa's got better ganging with the clear, but at the same time, Gragas's ganging with the cocoon. Gragas's body slam is likewise a good engage tool, as is his barrel follow-up, which applies a slow. His barrel roll, his Q. Drunken Rage also is a great burst tool, which Elise also has. So I don't think there's too much difference in terms of the jungling, the clear speed there, and how they will gang the lanes. It's definitely going to come down to the skill of the player and how they utilize their map awareness and the team's overall warding and lane management. So I think that might favor the GG2, the higher skilled team on paper, and I'm going to emphasize that on paper, in that they will have better lane management right now. Just looking at it, which will let the Gragas get some great gangs from the river through the brush. Looking at the AD carries, I don't think there's much. I think it actually favors Sivir to an extent. Lucian's harass is generally very spell heavy, especially with his piercing light, which if Sivir is on the ball, she will be able to spell shield and keep the mana and keep her boomerang going, which will be definitely a major problem for a Thresh Lucian, just as Lucian is not too squishy. So Thresh is going to have to be on the ball with just trying to keep the relic shield charges up if he does go with that, just to keep the heal going on the Lucian. In terms of the support, I do think this matchup favors Morgana ever so slightly. Just because Tormented Soil is a great harass tool, especially with Felt Thief's Edge, and she will be able to far out farm the Thresh if he starts Relic Shield. And early golden support, just letting Morgana get the Frostfang into Frost Queen's Claim, or letting Morgana get a Sightstone just that much quicker than a Thresh does take her out of easily burstable range, which is what Thresh and Lucian should maybe be looking to do levels 1 to 4. In terms of the top lane matchup, I think it favors Pantheon ever so slightly. I'm not too familiar with Wukong's cooldowns, but from what I understand, if Wukong is quick on his key presses and on picking up on how Pantheon is positioning, he should be able to bait 1 or 2 bad engages from the Pantheon onto his clone as opposed to onto the real champion. But that's going to be quite difficult with the ping. For those who don't know, South Africans generally play with 200 ping thereabouts. I think the best I've heard of is 160. The worst I've played on personally is 240 to the European server. So it can be quite challenging to get those timings ever so right. So you will more than likely see some very interesting flashes if you are used to watching the LCS, if you're watching this down here now. And I think the last matchup we're talking about was the mid lane matchup, which I think it depends how aggressive Ahri is going to be with her harass and how good she is at last hitting. If Ahri can keep her mana up with the Doran's Ring, I think she would be able to lay down some great harass onto Fiora, iFlying, as Fiora will not be able to dodge all of it. However, if Fiora is very good with her riposte, she will be able to block all the charms. Sorry, it's a failing of mine. I refer to champions by their gender, so high flying is a she, even though, just for now, it's a failing, sorry. But putting it up there front, Fiora will be able to riposte the charm quite easily, in my opinion. And in terms of burstiness with the ultimates, I think that favors Fiora quite handily. We'll have to see what happens here, but we're now going into the game. And I hear game sound, but I don't actually see a game picture on my side yet.
Same. There's something wrong.
I'm not sure. Maybe give it a second. This might just be those. There was a bug. Yeah, here we go. You generally join the game as a spectator about 5 seconds before the game starts, and it messes up the timer, and then it comes in.
It looks like we have an instant pause. So
and we have an instant pause.
if you
bold
don't
move
mind,
got
I'm
let's
just
see how
gonna
it
say
plays
that
out for them.
they don't have a triple ignite anymore. It seems.
Oh yes, yes, you're right. I did actually notice they changed Fiora to cleanse. I forgot the implications of that. So yeah, Morgana went to exhaust, Fiora went to cleanse, just as extra care for the charm, I imagine, or charm cocoon. So it's going to be interesting. But I think it's going to be. I think in terms of champion selection, it's a very interesting way of going with it. I think Siva's ultimate is not going to be as useful in this as possibly it normally is. But we'll have to see how that plays out. As you mentioned, though, in terms of team comp, the skill on paper right now definitely favors GGT, so we'll have to see what happens from there. In terms of the starting, we've got Pantheon starting Corrupting Potion, which is a very standard top lane start at the moment. Wukong is starting nothing, and he's AFK in base. I'm not actually sure if he was the one who was missing. No. Okay, yeah. Wukong is coming out. He started off Doran's Blade. It'll be interesting to see how it works. Corrupting Potion is very powerful if you remember to use it. I've tried to pick it up myself lately and had a good few games where I've died with it on full charges and had a good few instances of the enemy Zed running away on 20 HP after a full-on 30-second fight, and I've still had 3 full corrupting charges. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I'm just trying to fix something on my side quick. Okay, well anyway. But yeah, we have standard positioning here. It looks like both teams are going for a blue start, which is, I want to say atypical for blue side, but I'm not. I imagine Elise would prefer the blue just because it helps with the cooldown rotations and allows it to go spider human form quite more frequently. Okay, and yeah, minions have spawned. Pantheon is looking to catch someone out on a rotation, and it doesn't look like that's happened. He has started Spear, which is quite standard, but just going back there, we're focusing on the mid lane action, and we've got Ari getting some good harass in onto High Flying, the Orb doing some good damage, and she is managing to pick up those CSs. She has missed 2, however. High Flying is carried on. And this is what I was talking about. She is missing those, but she is landing that harass. So it's definitely favoring her in the early game, and we'll have to see what happens there. Just carrying on with directed camera for now. We've got Wukong going heavily onto Pantheon. Pantheon going to get the first blood quite easily, and Wukong going down, overextending a bit into the aggressive Pantheon with Potion and Ignite, and I think maybe he should have looked at that. Looking back here, Ari is carrying on with the harass onto the Fiora and has made it miss some creeps. Lucian's going in onto the Siva. Thresh landed a great hook. He is getting some great harass in there, and Morgana managing to just block them off successfully. Siva not having to use summon a heal or flash there.
Mid lane. Mid lane.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little speechless there. Fiora managing to take a lot of damage from Ari, and it looks like Riposte stopped the ignite damage, which I didn't know happened, but it definitely stopped the further Q damage, which definitely saved her life there. The pressure on this map is actually very interesting to have a look here. Oh, and we've got Fiora being greedy and dying to a very, very well-aimed orb, and instantly a orb of deception, and instantly we've got the pause coming in, and can't actually see what it says. Someone left the game. I must move my chat box up here. I flying has paused the game.
We'll just figure out in a bit.
Yeah, but if we look at the gold there, it's 4.4 to 4.5. Ari is slightly beating Fiora in CS right now. Lucian is beating Sivir quite handily, but they do have a wave approaching the tower, so there is about 6 CS that hasn't been killed off there.
Also, look at the difference in the jungle clear speeds. You'd say Elise will be quite faster, but it seems like Gragas has 6 more CS at the moment, and already has both his buffs.
Yeah, that is actually quite surprising, and but if you look, it looks like Gragas went blue Gromp, red Raptors, where Elise has gone blue Gromp, blue. Sorry, I say blue Gromp. But anyway, as did Gromp, then blue, then Wolves. And Gragas is now setting up onto the mid lane Ari, but she should have enough HP. She does have flash. I don't see much happening here, but we're not quite focusing on that. Here we go. Gragas going in, doing some great damage. She's got the red buff. I think Ari has got a lot of trouble here. She's going to need to cast her Orbit Reception to have enough move speed to get out here. Gragas is going to come in, and he is going to pick up the kill quite handily. There's the flash. Elise Cocoon coming in. Gragas getting chunked down quite handily. He's now had to flash away. Elise does have used her flash. Can't quite get in the range with the Rapal, and Gragas getting away quite low. I think GGT is getting a bit over aggressive here, and it's very, very well responded to by Mad Triqsters. It is definitely something that I wasn't quite expecting. We've got another ambitious thresh hook here on the side. I think Lucian was a little bit too far away, so it's just as well that missed. But if we look at Elise, she's now going through back to do her red now, and if she had her red, it might have been a different story for the Gragas. But Ari has gone back, and she is picking up a Phoenix Codex, which is a great first item for her. Fiora's come back, looking like she's wanting to start going for, if I'm not mistaken, a Tiamat with that Rejuvenation Orb. And we'll have to see what ends up happening here. We've got Wukong pushing Pantheon to the tower, and this kind of comes back to that lane management I was talking about. No one really knows who Gragas is on the map. He did kind of disappear to the bot lane, but now he's going into the top lane jungle area to pick up his golems, and Wukong needs to be careful there. Just in terms of overextending into the Pantheon, because they will be able to almost instantly pop him with the CT chain they have available to them. Wukong going in with the Nimbus Strike, I believe it's called. No? Nimbus Strike? Yeah. Pantheon on the other hand going back on him, his Ignite's almost up, gonna land another spear, and he just misses finishing it off. Elise is back in the mid lane, going in on the Fiora. There's action all over the map. We've got Gragas coming down. This Repulse blocking off the charm. Ari is overextended, really, really slow here. She is going to go down to the Gragas. There is no way down. Sorry, Fiora manages to dash in there and pick her up. That cooldown is way too quick on that skill, which I need to actually check the name. Lunges in. And yeah, if we just look around the map, there is action happening all over the place. It's really quite hectic. Wukong is still yet to use his TP to get back to lane, and he's running up there again now for the third time this map, including the start. We've got Gragas warding the blue side jungle very well. There are 4 wards currently in the blue side jungle. They're all around the red camp, and that's just amazing warding right now. He at least managed to find one of them, but there's still 2 more on that side of the map right now. If we look at the farm, Lucian is handily out-farming Sivir right now. He's up almost a kill, or 15 CS, rule of thumb is a kill. If we look at gold there, it is about 300 gold. Sorry, yeah, it's roughly 300 gold. It's not quite there, it's about 250. And just looking here, we've got a massive wave coming in onto Wukong's tower. He does need to leech this. He should not be going into the Pantheon. The tower shot does go into Pantheon though, and that does help Jooms out quite happily. A spear comes down, but Wukong's taking all the creep harass, and this is not great. Pantheon has managed to walk back into the tower and taken so much more. I don't think he can actually all-in Wukong right now, so that is quite good for him. He is going to pick up and leech all that experience. Gragas, on the other hand, is coming in here, and between the two of them, if Gragas tanks the tower quite successfully, that will be the end of Jooms' life up there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Jooms has got cloth armor just to help with the spear wrath. He's going in, and here comes the CC chain as predicted. Ignite going down even, and Greg is picking up the kill onto the Wukong in the top lane. Him now going 0 for 2 with 7 CS at 7 minutes, so just averaging at 1 CS a minute, which is not really what you want to be doing. Elise is looking at Gragas angrily in the river there. I don't think much is going to happen. Looks like they're fighting over the scuttle. But in the meantime, in the mid lane, we've got Ari going in on Fiora again, and there's just so much action here. The gold lead has expanded to 1.7k gold now. As I said, it's gone up almost to 2. We do have Elise handing over the blue, which is quite standard. We do have Wukong coming back in here, but it's quite a level difference here. Pantheon's got a level. They did just trade flashes up there. It was great flash engage from Wukong, and it was a great counter flash to get out of there by the Pantheon, even though I do think he was safe at the time. He has picked up he's gone back for his first time, and he's picked up what looks to be the start of a Yumo's Ghostblade, picking up that serrated Dirk and the Caulfield's Warhammer. Looking at Elise, she's busy cleaning out wards again. Neither jungler has finished off their core item yet. It looks like Gragas is going for Cinder Hulk, where Elise, well, hasn't really made up her mind, but should be Runic Echoes quite happily. We've got Ari carrying on the harass there onto the Fiora. Riposte used preemptively there for a charm that never came through. And it looks kind of like mid lane is probably one of the more balanced matchups, lanes in this matchup right now, with bot going in the hand of Mad Triqsters and top going in the hands of GGT. We do have Ari overextending into the Gragas Fiora, and that is going to be the Ari having to use her ulti and a Gragas ultimate barrel coming in just to pick her off underneath the tower there. That ultimate being called Explosive Cast. But moving on, it's kind of getting away from Mad Triqsters right now. The gold lead is still a solid 2,000, but seems to be like it's slowly slipping away from them. But not quite as fast as a triple ignite in Champion Select would have suggested, and I know they're not with it, but they were thinking of it. And now Elise is coming in, she manages to flash in to repel, she misses the cocoon, and Fiora turns on her, lands the ultimate, and going to go down to the tower. Big mistake there from Fiora. I think she could have actually even killed the Elise and, well, probably still died, but at least got the kill before dying. And she decided instead to panic a bit after she realized her mistake and went down quite quickly. I see in the chat there's a bit of talk of spiderlings. Maybe she misclicked and hit one of them instead. Not entirely sure. We've got Gragas counter juggling right now in the blue side near the blue buff. Blue is not going to be up. We should be seeing Elise going for her red buff soon, because it has been up quite a while, and that's normally a problem. But again, if we just look at the warding, there's great warding from GGT around the map, but not so much for Mad Triqsters. We've got the somewhat standard. Well, I think the enemy jungler might be coming through the river board, and the same for mid lane and bot lane. We've even got a possible dragon ward at the back there, so we'll have to see what happens. And as you can see on the minimap, GGT knows exactly where Elise is, who's now making her way to the mid lane. Looking at the bot lane again, we've got Lucian farming quite handily. He's got 92 CS, 93, 90, 94 CS right now. Up 20, well, about 20 CS on his opponent there. But if you look at the items, there's much of a muchness right now. There's no real clear advantage, but we'll have to see what happens there. Ari looks like she lagged out of it. She held the charm beautifully. It hits the Fiora, who's going to take some tower damage. We've got Ari ulting in, and that's going to be all she wrote for Fiora. Some great play. Fiora managing to get her passive off there and gain some life and do some decent damage, but too little too late, and Ari manages to get the solo kill there, bringing that lane to 1-3-1 for Fiora and 2-2-0 for Ari right now. If you look at top lane, Wukong still battling to farm. He's only got 21 CS, which is almost double the support right now, which is not really great. He is taking a lot of harass from the Pantheon's stun harass combo. Let's try to pick up those names quickly. Aegis of Ziona and Heartseeker Strife and Spear Shot. I'm not going to remember those very much. He is going to go down underneath here. We've got Gragas coming out of the tower. Pantheon's come in. Pantheon went onto the tower a little bit early, but he managed to block one of the tower shots for the thing, and Gragas coming in to just pick up the kill when I think he was kind of aiming for the assist. But if we look at Gragas, he is 3-0-1 right now. He has finished a Runic Echoes. The Cinder Hulk was a lie. The Ruby Crystal was misleading. And if we look at Elise, she has not quite finished that item yet herself, which I think is hurting her spear clear speed quite a bit. But yeah, if we're looking at the gold here, it's now slowly creeping up. It's now 3.8 K difference. It was 2 a few minutes ago, and that's even with Lucian being the first to 100 on the map. Pantheon should be second here, and Siva should be following him from that. So it's definitely, the farm game is definitely favoring GGT right now. But oh, we've got Gragas going in onto Elise. Does he have ultimate? He does have ultimate. It does not look like Elise is going to be able to get out of this. She is not. She does not have flash. She's going to have to maybe defensive raffle. She does. Ari's coming in. I think Ari might be able to pick up a kill here. Gragas had to flash. She needs another order of deception here, and she needs to land a little bit more. She is just short. She gets the kill with the charm. Great commitment from the Ari, knowing exactly how far to push herself to get all those kills. Flash is traded, and Gragas overextending. Bit off a bit more than he can chew, which is something to say for the fat man. And he goes down to the wily fox in the mid lane. But if we look there, Ari did use a lot of her mana to do that. Blue is up, but she's going to have to leave with the wave relatively pushed, and Fiora right on her tower. So it's going to be interesting to see how much damage Fiora does get done to that. It is full HP, but these AD champions can do quite a bit of damage really quickly. She does have a Tiamat and a couple of attack items beyond that. Fiora's going a bit aggressively there, going into the Ari jungle, trying to pick up the return from the blue while Ari has no mana, not finding much luck. And if you look at the goal difference now, it's gone back to 2.3, so Mad Triqsters is pulling it back. The score is 4-5. All the kills are on the Gragas, really. He is trying to split the assists around. We do have Elise in the top lane going into the Pantheon, doing some decent damage there, some amazing damage. He has picked up Runic Echoes by the looks of things. No, still not. We've got Wukong coming in, flashing in, picking up the kill on the Pantheon. Sorry, I was a bit distracted there. We've got Ari picking up the Fiora, recalling on the ward, Gragas and Fiora in mid lane. And I'd be very surprised if this is not a good dragon opportunity. Gold difference has gone back to 2,000, and the kills are even at 5 apiece. Gragas is still going with the counter jungling, trying to make Elise's life relatively difficult, but I think that she's just trading that for map pressure, and she's really helping her losing lanes. If we look at Wukong, that did some amazing stuff for her. We've got Ari holding her charm every time now. The cleanse coming in a bit late, and Fiora overextending into the Ari, not realizing that preemptively using the riposte to block those skill shots doesn't help too much when she just holds the charm. You actually have to use it into the charm. You can't just predict it. Thresh flash plays, great, misses the box, lands the hook. There's the Lantern coming in. It's a 3-man gang on the Gragas, however. Pantheon has come in here. It's a counter gang service, ulti in. Elise does go down for the first time. Ari looks like he's going to follow soon to Pantheon. Thresh has come in. Wukong's now teleported in himself. Looks like he might be going onto the Pantheon. He does do the Cyclone onto the Pantheon, doing some decent damage there, but doesn't look going left. The culling is coming in onto Siva on the side. We do have the Dark Binding landing onto Lucian. Lucian has to flash. Pantheon is running around to the side. Lucian misses his passive, which I can't remember offhand, but misses his passive on the Pantheon just before he moves out of range of the Piercing Light. And it looks like it was a 3-for-1 trade there, which was not great. We've got Fiora joining the mix right now. Mid lane tower under threat. And it looks, I'm not quite sure what's happening there, but a lot of flashes were used to try and kill the Gragas, who got out of it relatively well off. He's actually just gone back to jungling. Elise did go down relatively painlessly. Siva coming in with her ultimate. Wukong coming in on the Fiora. She's not quite in range, and she managed to trade evenly there. Sorry, Siva's on the hunt, I did know that. But yeah, Wukong is doubling his farm in the mid lane right now, or 31 to 43, it's almost doubling. He did not pick up any kills or assists there. He wasted his flash and his TP, so wasted, but he did not get anything quite done there. Ari went down relatively effortlessly, as did the Lucian did not go down. Who died there? It was Ari, Elise, and Thresh. Okay. But yeah, that's definitely helping bot lane now, with Siva picking up 3 assists, which is really good for her, getting her some extra gold, helping out with that CS differential. If we look at the gold difference, it's still only 250 gold, so she's definitely done a good job. Ari coming in onto the Pantheon, which I'm not entirely sure is a good idea, getting the Thunderlord's strike, ulting in, doing some decent damage to the Pantheon. Flash Cocoon from the Elise, going onto Fiora, managed to pick up the Pantheon relatively well done there. Ari's in trouble, trying to land a max range charm that is creep blocked. we have the Cocoon being repulsed by the Fiora. On the meantime, we've got Gragas coming in on the bot lane. He does have the barrel, explosive cast. The Black Shield's doing great stuff. They're blocking off the Thresh. Explosive cast picking up the kill. Thresh is going down as well, and looks like it's being handed over to Sivir. Gragas picking up another kill there himself. But Sivir now getting onto the board. We have Elise doing some great damage to Gragas now. She has finished her Runic Echoes, but it does look like that is going to be all she wrote for that battle. There's just so much stuff happening on this map right now. It's just kind of steamrolling one into the other. It's really hard to keep track. We've got Dark Binding coming into the Elise, the Boomerang coming in as well. I think maybe she should have repelled that, but that's neither here or there. I was trying to get some extra farm. In the meantime, we've got Skyfall, Grand Skyfall coming in onto the Wukong, who is under the tower going invisible. It looks like Pantheon's going to be able to pick up another kill, especially with the Heartseeker strike. And we've got Fiora coming in onto the Ahri, who's managed to flash ulti away quite successfully. Fiora's ultimate not doing too much. If I'm not mistaken, it's the Grand Challenge, yes. Grand Skyfall and Spear Shot. Sorry, his passive is... Where's Heartseeker Strike? Oh, that's his other thing. Sorry. It looks like top tower is going to be the first tower to go down to the Pantheon. He is going to bounce the wave off the tower. It's what you should do. It's going to be quite interesting to see what happens here. In the meantime, we've got Elise coming into the Raptors. She might try for something on the Fiora. She does have her cleanse up, but she has very little else, including health, to stop her. But if we just look at the warding again, we've got pink wards everywhere. We've got red, we've got trinket wards, we've got normal wards just everywhere in the bottom side of that jungle. And it does look like Mad Triqsters is losing the warding game, which does not bode well for when this moves off of lane phase. Which is not quite yet. It looks like GGT wants to keep it non-team fight, especially since I do believe Mad Triqsters has better team fight. So GGT is definitely trying to extend the lane phase as long as possible and just have that Gragas roam around and be as all-encompassing as possible. There's a ward on this blue buff now. They have pulled it into the brush, which is what you're supposed to do. Gragas is chilling there. He might just try an explosive cast. He does not steal it. He at least picks it up. Don't believe she smited. I think it was kind of good luck with the barrel over there. We've got Gragas coming into the jungle now. He does see her still around there thanks to that ward. In the meantime, we've got Ahri coming in, managing to get the Thunderlord's Decree off onto the Fiora, who lunged in aggressively and was denied a little bit. If we look at the gold difference there, it's now popped up to about 5,000, which is a little bit worrying. But at the same time, it's sort of a scrappy game, and it could go any which way with one or two team fights. 5,000 in 20 minutes is not amazing. If we look there, the Rift Herald has killed himself. Return to the Void he has. I'm sure he's got lots to report to his Void Masters, but we'll have to see what happens there. Ahri is landing some great harass onto the Fiora, who is losing her CS lead that she had. We've got Ahri's ultimate coming in there as defensively again. Fiora's gone in. Ahri went back in aggressively, and Fiora managed to get the kill with her ultimate. My word, I've just lost track here. There's so much happening. Cyclone was used, however, the explosive cast immediately rebuffed the Cyclone from the Wukong, knocking him out of the way. Fiora managed to escape on next to nothing after an amazing ultimate from the Wukong. We've got Grand Skyfall coming in, Soul Shackles coming in, Lucian is going to go down under the tower to the Ignite. That stun, spear, Heartseeker strike combo onto anyone right now from a 6-2-2 Pantheon or 5-2-2 Pantheon at the time. It's just way too brutal. And Sivir picking up another kill on the Thresh. If we're not careful, Fiora might just go down to the Raptor. This could be quite funny to see. No, one more, no. Oh no, she does go down. Yep, there she goes. And in the meantime, they're taking the Dragon, which is to be expected with that map control that they have. I'm quite surprised at how late it is, but the gold lead has ballooned up to almost 7,000, 6.9 right now, and the score is 714. If we look at the levels, this is about the time that GGT was finishing off their previous opponents, so it may have been game over or just surrender, so I'm not actually too sure there, but we'll have to see what happens now. I don't think this is a surrender game just yet. I do think Mad Triqsters has a good chance, and they need to pick up a tower here or there, pick up some ward control, and maybe force some team fights. Because I think outside of the explosive cast, there is not much really that GGT has in terms of team fight ability, where if you look at what Mad Triqsters have, their whole team is geared around it. We've got Ahri going onto the mid tower, great charm on Oh wow, that body slam flash from Gragas was absolutely impeccable. Explosive cast knocking Ari back away again, so basically denied twice there by Gragas. Flash body slam, for those who aren't aware, you can body slam and then flash, and the animation will finish along the new route and you will stun, and then that body slam prediction of Spirit Rush was just impeccable, knocking her back into the Fioras and managing to secure the kill. If we look at bot lane right now, Sivir is closing off the gap. We've got Grand Challenge going in onto the Elise, who is getting the assist of Fiora's nemesis, the Raptor over there. Pantheon coming in with a Grand Skyfall again onto the Lucian, instantly popping him and picking up the double kill on the Thresh right now. At 20 minutes, tier 1 towers don't do a lot. They're not something you can rely on. And as you can see from Pantheon walking away there, I think he took maybe 3 turret shots and he's not even on 2/3 health. Those things are just brutal. We do have the end of the Elise Fiora fight was Fiora getting scared off by that Raptor, once bitten, twice shy, and Elise managing to take her spiders with her and get away there. Pantheon has managed to find 2 wards there, and Ari is in a little bit of trouble. Looks like she might go a bit aggressive, but the Gragas is back there and he does have his ultimate again. We've got the stun combo coming in onto the Pantheon, who's going to get the spear and pick up the solo kill onto the Ari, and I think that is the last thing to get very quickly out of control. We've got the culling coming in, and that is going to be a stun binding onto the Elise to pick up the kill there. Great play from Morgana, managing to stop the magic damage coming through with the black shield, just enough to keep Pantheon alive, and he does pick up another kill and get out. What was a 6k lead a few minutes ago is now up to 10,000 gold, and again, it's just gone out of control. And this is getting to the point where your carries are not going to be able to carry if they can't get peel. Wukong is terribly behind. 75 CS at 23 minutes is not what anyone wants. Gragas has more farm than him. In fact, so does Elise, who is also behind the Gragas in terms of farm. Gragas has also been farming champions, which is always good. Dooms does manage to pick up the top tower, which does give his team some hope. Pulls the gold lead under 10,000 briefly. I'm sure it won't be there for too long. But if you look at the tower kill, it's 1 tower to 2 and 1 Drake to GGT. And 2 towers to GGT right now. We do have the red trinket picking up the ward, but no one's actually clearing it. So they do pick it up there, and we've got 3 of the Mad Triqsters in the jungle while they're giving over the blue buff to the Ari, while her mid tower goes down to Fiora. We look at the CS, it was down to, I believe 15 gold. We've got Lucian going down to Pantheon again. We've got Elise, Ari going onto Fiora, but having to run away. Ari going onto Sivir, but having to run away from Elise and running away from Fiora and going down to Fiora herself. Elise managed to pick up Fiora. Pantheon coming in, it looks like, to pick up the Thresh. Can't quite get in there. I believe the tier 3 tower is still slow. I'm not entirely sure. There's been so many changes recently. But Elise is running straight into Fiora, and that's going to be all she wrote for the spider. Swords might not be the best way to kill them, but they definitely get the job done when it comes to removing the arachnid threat. Pantheon is... some amazing bluff work from Dooms there to get us away. Pantheon completely and utterly fooled. Thought it was a decoy, and in fact it was just actually the champion. Very, very well done. We're going to need see a lot more of that individual skill if Mad Triqsters wants to pull back the game. Right now we have Thresh trying to relic shield his way for Lucian to kind of get gold safely. But again, we've got the culling used defensively here just to clear the wave, but this is the wave clear I was talking about. I do think it's going to be very difficult for Triqsters to rely on this for the 15 to 20 minutes they would need to get back into this game. That said, with the new comeback mechanics and the death timers and all the rest, getting to the point where at about 30-35 minutes, here's a team fight that goes completely one-sided. The game can swing very drastically. In the case of GGT, it would almost be game over, especially with how many towers are down, where in the case of Mad Triqsters, it might just be an inhib and a dragon pickup, or potentially even a inhib and baron, depending on how well they use their resources. We do have a pause coming in. We've got the Grand Skyfall coming in. Lucian running away very quickly, trying to heal his way away from Pantheon getting a max range stun in. Thresh's Lantern looking like it's saving the Lucian on very little, but giving up his life for it. No, he does get away. The explosive pass misses. However, the spear comes in to pick it up. Elise is now the next target. Pantheon is very low. On the hunt comes in just to give the Sivir the assist by the looks of things. Pantheon picking up a double kill and getting away there quite happily. Gold lead is now 12,000 gold, or close enough to it, and it looks like this bottom tower is not long for this world. Meanwhile, Fiora, the Grand Duelist, is Grand Dueling the Drake and going to pick it up by herself by the looks of things. And I'm very surprised we haven't seen a Baron here yet, but we've got the culling again used defensively, so Lucian just trying to really get CS going, and it does look like he's falling a bit behind there. Not that he needs the Last Whisper, but just in terms of the items, compared to Sivir, who he is, well, 10 CS up on now, and, well, I suppose 3 deaths up on as well, he is not really... He's behind on items, which I think is a major concern. Sivir going for an Essence Reaver, which I am surprised to see, to an extent. I didn't quite realize she was one of those champions, but it does keep the boomerang up and on the hunt, and those type, and enables her to crit a bit more with her ricochet, I believe it's called. But yeah, gold lead is ballooning quite quickly. It's now 13,000 grand. Skyfall coming in onto the Lucian, who is going to go down very, very quickly. Not be able to get his recall off. I admire his guts in keeping with that, but at the same time, it does look like this game is start becoming less winnable. That said, Elise is doing some very, very good damage, chunking down Pantheon, who has gone full aggression quite handily. If we look at what Pantheon's built there, he has actually built this new item, the Duskblade of Drakthar, and I think on him it's actually quite a good item, because he does like kind of spear, stun, damage, attack, then only proccing the blade and then getting another spear in. So it really is a great burst from him and a very good pickup from him. Elite is coming in just trying to get some more harass down in there. It is going to land. No, it does not land on anyone. Fiora managing to escape. But again, Gragas is just almost living in the jungle. He is so large, he needs as much of the map as possible. Lucian going to go pick up some CS in the bottom lane, but he really needs to start transitioning that CS into something a bit more useful. It looks like he's going for a late Triforce with that Phage and Longsword. Ruby Crystal and Longsword, wanting to get the Phage. We'll have to see. It might also, I believe, Stag's Gauge goes into that. I can't remember the item it builds into offhand. Offhand. But I believe that's also Longsword and Ruby Crystal is involved in that recipe. But we'll see where it goes. In terms of other items, Sivir's going for an Infinity Edge. Elise has gone very interesting for Ninja Tabi before getting Abyssal Scepter, which is a great cost-effective AP item. Built a lot these days just to take advantage of that efficiency. Wukong has managed to pick up an item or two, Boost of Swiftness and a Black Cleaver. Wukong I've heard referred to fondly as a Kassadin of the top lane, so as the game goes on, he definitely starts becoming more and more relevant, even if he is this far behind. We do have them trying to collapse in on the Pantheon, the Cocoon landing, Wukong giving up, Elise chunking out Pantheon. Amazingly, he has now turned onto the Elise, who has rappelled up, and he's going to go down. Wukong letting his teammate down there quite substantially. A wonderful hook landing in onto the Sivir, however, she is spell shielded out before the charm lands. Thresh going down in the middle of his box, his safety box it was not. We've got Wukong now going in on the Pantheon, another great clone decoy. I want to see the Cyclone comes in, Pantheon does fall, but now we go back to the mid lane tower goes down, Frost Queen's Claims Ghosts have been activated, Ahri was knocked down from that, Gragas and 3 others are in the mid lane. Fiora flashing in onto the Ahri, who is flashing out of there, pretty much used offensively again. Wukong is recalling at the inhibitor. You really should run from there. The move speed from your Boots of Swiftness make it quicker to actually just run back to base. That was a big mistake. He has now picked up his Dead Man's Plate, which is great. Gives him some additional survivability and engageability as well, or initiation rather, and we'll have to see what happens from there. If we look at the farm, Lucian is still on top, but 5 deaths is not doing him well at all. Sivir has managed to pick up 3 kills and 9 assists after her 0-0-3 start. Gragas is still everywhere, 619. Pantheon has just gone out of control, 15-3-2. Morgana has yet to keep the grey screen of death, let's put it that way, at 0-0-8. And Fiora is 3-5-4, battling quite substantially. got her Hex Tech, her Titanic Hydra, and a Spirit Bazaar. We have another fight happening in the blue side jungle. The Cocoon and the Wukong going in. Fiora lunges over the wall, seems a bit exercise intensive, but she does get away. We've got Ari now trying to just pick up some more farm. It seems they can't really decide who to give the farm to. Pantheon's coming in looking for another kill. And if we look at the wards, the warding has actually started to fall apart for GGT. Their warding is not as great as it has been. They're a lot more generalized warding and for a normal mid-game as opposed to this offensive, hyper-aggressive comp they're playing right now. That said, the inhibitor did go down a while ago and I haven't commented on it yet. We've got super creeps in the mid lane. And it looks like GGT should just be trying to pick up a Baron right now while they know where all the champs are. But again, it kind of just looks like they're setting up for more kills. It's 927, it's a 15,000 gold difference, and it's not looking good. But at the same time, in 8 minutes, if GGT all die and Wukong and Lucian survive, the game can end very quickly. Gragas getting hit by the Cocoon, having to body slam out before the charm follow-up connects on him. Top lane tower, it looks like it's not long for this world. Fiora's coming down for the Lucian and the Thresh, but looking at the mid lane again, we've got Pantheon coming in, just trying to push that lane out and hurt the creep clear. If you need to clear super creeps, use magic dealers, by the way. They have negative magic resist, if I remember correctly, or at least naught, where their armor is quite substantial. And then we've got Gragas doing some great harass there. He has managed to pick up a Lichbane right now and an Abyssal himself, just trying to almost be a second AP carry. Deadman's plate is quite strange, but I suppose it gives off some extra move speed. Pantheon is out of position here. The Threshook lands, the Charm misses, the Cocoon lands by the looks of things. We've got Fiora coming in to try save him. However, she's going to have to pop her Mortal Mortis and go down to the Lucian. This is a great team fight for Mad Triqsters. It's definitely not what GGT wants, but at the same time, Siv's going away quite happily on the tower. Morgana's activated the Prospering Slam, only hitting the Elise. Siva does manage to pick up the top tower. But if we look there, Pantheon just got really, really greedy, dying for free, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the end of his bounty now. I think he's died twice. I'm not quite sure how it stacks up high up to these days. But with the new change, I know you can die and still have a killing spree, which I think that's what that was. If you look there, it's 2 Drakes to naught right now. However, Drake is up, and it looks like Fiora might be going for a bit of a sneaky Drake herself. Gragas on the other hand is going to meet her there, and that's not good for her. She has no flash. And Morgana's going to meet her as well, so I don't think Fiora Elise can do it that quickly. It's going to be quite difficult for her to get out. I don't even think they'll even wait. I think they'll just go straight onto her. Why even try and make it a smite steal? No, Elise does just run out. Elise, however, does want to make it a smite fight, and Thresh is there. She's going to have to take the Lantern out, and she does do that now. Might even try Rappel in again. No, she has given up that Drake for lost. Managed to escape her web. Moving on, we've got Triqsters living in the jungle, trying their best just to get any farm they can without really leaving their base. Gragas is now coming down, collapsing. No, he's just, looks like he's probably clearing wards there. And Pantheon is now pushing the bot lane. Triqsters does have an inhibitor respawning soon, however their top one is open right now, and that gold lead is still around 15,000, it's 16.1 right now. But it's not looking too great. If we look at the level differences, the highest level for GGT is 217s, where on the other hand it's 116 from Mad Triqsters, and levels do make a difference. It does, those damage ratios do make a difference. Not so much at this stage of the game because your items start kicking in, but it is, every little bit helps when people are getting away on 10, 20 HP. We've got a 4-man wave clear happening in the bot lane while Morgana looks like she's rotating to try and solo hero Ekfek's inhibitor. She has got decent AP, so she should be doing some decent damage there. Wukong is rotating up there, which is, I think, is a problem because he is their primary tank engage right now. Looks like he might be going for Yomoids as well, but we'll have to see what happens there. We've got the mid inhibitor respawned. We've got Lucian and Wukong trying to go in on the super creeps. Lucian looks like he's going for a last whisper now. He did actually go for Steric's Gauge, believe it or not. Ari's coming in aggressively onto the Fiora while GGT just takes the bottom inhibitor and really opening up the base for them for future. There are only 2 towers left for Triqsters in the game. The charms have been relatively on point, but I think it's kind of getting out of the way of wave clear and 1 good CC or 2 good CCs in case of Elise's Cocoon. She has been very good with those. can save. We look at CS, Lucian is still winning up here. Elise is taking a lot of damage from Fiora. She is going back for the all-in. The Grand Challenge has been laid down. Repel too late, and Lucian cleared the wave. Fiora, so she was not able to repel to a minion. Fiora managed to pick up Elise. Gragas managed to pick up Ari. Lucian having to run away. He is now going on the Pantheon, who should die. He does go down to Lucian, however, there is only one person left, not even anymore. It is a full ace for GGT. They have 2 inhibitors down, and we have the Fiora recalling because I think she just doesn't realize the game is over. But on that end, we do have Gragas and Siva, and well, Gragas and Siva on the inhibitor. Though the last Nexus turret, I apologize. The Nexus going down. Morgana trying to race them and get the inhibitor. It's going to be interesting to see what happens first. She does not get the inhibitor. Morgana loses that race, just like Mad Triqsters lose the game. And that was game 1 of the Mad Hatters Futterwacken quarterfinals. Well, I'd say of this quarterfinal rather. Going to GGT with a 20,000 gold difference, or close enough. 11 towers to 1, 3 dragons to 0, 32 kills to 12. Wow.
That was one hell of a game.
Yeah, just want to just mention it while I have a moment. It is quite challenging solo casting. I don't know if you watched on the LTS. You get your color cast, you get analytical casters, and I'm trying to do it all by myself. Rob is going to, whoops, I'm in the wrong spot. Rob is pointing out places where I mess up if I do. So far, I haven't heard his wonderful, sexy voice in my ear.
I'm sorry about that.
Well, it's not a major problem. I'm actually glad I didn't do anything too wrong there. But that game was very, very hectic. It was action from about 5 minutes in, really, with Wukong Jooms overextending into... I can't remember who it was. It wasn't I Flying, it was... Young. No, who was the Pantheon?
The Pantheon. That was Kitty Cat.
Kitty Cat.
Oh, they swapped out some players, it seems.
Yeah, I was like looking here, I'm going like, hang on, where's this name gone?
I think they swapped it out so the other people get to play, and now they're confused about what to ban.
They swapped out Kitty Cat with Tripton, yeah. So yeah, that was what happened there, and thank you for joining us and watching, and
on to the next game.
I'm actually going to take a quick break to get a little bit more water, because I've run out. So I'll be back in about 20 seconds.
Take your time. Welcome back.
I'm back.
So what I wanted to point out is that the silver players didn't roam at all, and
Are we streaming still?
yes,
Yes. Okay. Yes.
so
Sorry,
that's probably a tip for them, like just saying, get your support to roam. I mean, the Lucian was pretty set in the bot lane. Even if the Morgana would hit a binding, he would be able to get away with the summoners, and he has great wave clear. So the Morgana should have been able to pick up some more kills on mid lane and shut down the Ahri earlier, especially with the black shield. So the Fiora basically has 3 cleanses. That's pretty much it.
The problem with that though is, as you said, they didn't roam. So if Morgana roamed against the Sivir, leaving the Sivir against Lucian Thresh when she was behind like that, they would have got the kill. Thresh was very aggressive with the hooks, and Lucian was very on point with his harass. What was I saying? Oh. No, I was calling them GGT. Sorry, I'm just looking at that. But anyway, sorry.
So apparently,
sorry, chat distracting me.
Apparently, their names Garen Galioteric.
Okay. So yeah. So yeah, no, I agree with you that they could have roamed more, but in terms of bot lane, I disagree in that that Morgana should have roamed. Morgana couldn't have roamed while Thresh was in lane, because if they would be able to kill the Sivir quite easily, because spell shields could quite a high cooldown, at low levels, because you don't actually max it that early on. You just get one fairly early on, and you kind of keep it at rank 1. Then on the other hand, if Thresh roamed, as you said, Lucian has the dash and the flash and the heal, but then it also gets to a point of Sivir lands a lucky boomerang or two, Morgana lands a binding, Lucian dies. Because it's like a 2.5, 3 second binding. It's quite brutal, and the double boomerang will land, and he'll just be chunked down because he's notoriously squishy in the early game. So it kind of the fact that the one was there meant the other one couldn't roam at all. So that's bot lane, and I do agree with you that the Mad Triqsters should have roamed more, and what should have roamed should have been the Wukong pushing the wave out, because he was doing that quite successfully, but then he was almost instantly dying. But on the other hand, if he pushed the wave out and then gone mid lane to get the assist on the Fiora, and that's something I think low level players don't do enough. They don't realize, like, oh my word, I'm losing the game, my lane, what can I do? It's like, well, 15 minutes, my first tower's still out, I'm not losing it too badly, let's go roam. If I give up a tower at 15 minutes, it's not the end of the world. If I give up a tower at 5 minutes, it's a lot worse. At 20 minutes, tier 1 towers do no damage at all. It's ridiculous. Unless you're the Wukong from that game. So then you just go roam. You go and you get an assist on the Fiora. It's 100 extra gold. It's like 5 creeps. And when you're on 70 CS at 20 minutes, 5 creeps is a lot. And I think that's maybe what the Wukong should have done. Elise was around the map quite nicely. Ahri was trying to roam. I do think Ahri should have maybe gone bot a bit more, faked onto the Sivir and maybe picked up the Morgana, because Morgana just can't do anything to that much CC, especially when Ahri's that fed. The Black Shield will die to an Orb of Deception, and that should have been an easy pickup on Morgana, who I don't think was threatened at all that game. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
Oh, I agree on that, but I would have liked to see more roaming, because it was all like one-on-ones and the junglers going in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. There should have been more roaming. Definitely. Not that I'm paid for my opinion, but I give it anyway. That's why I do this. Okay, it looks like everyone is ready, so we're going to be going into game 2. We'll see if GGT live up to their name again and ban Garen Galioteric.
Well, they might ban Ahri.
Yeah, they might actually ban Ahri. The Ahri was a bit of a threat there, but as I said, we'll see what happens. I don't think they have too much of a problem. They might just go for it. That said, though, looking at their previous bans, they did not just do Garen Galioteric. So they do legitimate bans every now and again. I think they did take that a little bit too flippantly, and it did hurt them. Did shock them, because they did kind of get into stride from about 25 minutes, where the first 20 or so minutes of the game really was quite tight, excluding top lane. We've got the Gragas ban coming in, Malphite and Graves again, so they're going to go with the GGT.
I think they're banning
Gragas and Graves are legitimate bans in the current meta, so it is quite ironic still, and we'll probably see a Thresh ban, because that Thresh was quite good, just to do that. I do think Blue Team is denying the Gragas. They might be picking up the elites themselves. Those two seem to be the two meta junglers in LCS right now. It'll be interesting to see how Hema Korax, what he will go to.
I'm actually hoping to see a Kindred in here.
And there's the Thresh, yes. GGT lives up to their name. Yeah, we'll see what happens from here. Where are we? Malphite, Alistair, Lee Sin, great engaged champions. Definitely not champions that Mad Triqsters wants to give to such a hyper-aggressive team like a GGT. And I do believe it was their bans from the last game as well. So they're very methodical. Whether it's actually champs that the other team can play or not, as opposed to just general bans, I'm not too aware, but I do think there were maybe one or two that they could have picked up. We have Nautilus coming in for the blue team. I'm not sure if that's going to be a support top or even jungle Nautilus. He is actually quite strong in all three at the moment. Maybe not the ultimate meta pick in the jungle, but he is still very strong in all three roles. We've got Hemocorax. He might just go straight for the elite again, according to Rob de Bob, and there it is, instantly locked. Lucas looking a little bit uncertain there. Nothing really that he wants to go for. Going for Braum, which is a great disengage champion, sorry. But that does kind of limit the engage options here. We're limited to just the Cocoon. We've got Lucian being picked up by GGT. Just to go down at the bottom lane.
Just a quick spoiler.
Lucian, yeah?
Before you keep on talking. That's actually, they just ruined their plan. Because the Mad Triqsters were actually going Braum Lucian.
Okay, so it's a taken away. The Lucian was quite aggressive in the first game, so it's going to be interesting to see how deep the champion pool goes for Mad Triqsters AD carry. And Braum Lucian is quite frustrating, but at the same time there are other options as well. Braum anyone really does well, especially against a Lucian, as the Winter's Bite does slow Lucian down, and the follow-up stun is very frustrating. We've got a Nidalee who is generally seen in the jungle these days, so that Nautilus is support or top. Nautilus against Braum I think is a fairly even matchup in terms of that the one can't really kill the other one, but once you get to level 6, Nautilus does get better engage than Braum does, where Braum's disengage is less effective into the depth charge just because of how the ability functions. We do have Braum Vayne coming up. The knock into the wall is going to be very good. They will be able to chain CC like that. The Condemn does proc an on-hit effect, so it is an extra charge. There will be 2 charges while stunned against the wall, so that is going to be quite interesting to see what happens there. I do believe that the individual skill in the bot lane looked like it favored Triqsters last game. So with the Nautilus and the Lucian, if Nautilus is indeed going bot, it could be quite frustrating for them if Vayne lands some very good condemns. On the other hand, we've got Rammus, who's a very strong top lane pick these days. I'm not entirely sure why. I believe he's just a Fiora counter more than anything else, but it'll be interesting to see what happens here. We do have one of the ultimate top lane bullies, along with Darius. Renington is just too strong in the early game, so it's definitely going to be giving Jooms some extra legs in that matchup right now, and he, if done well, should be able to do really, really good things with him, as that was his problem right now. Full tank Renington, I do believe, has been buffed just with how everything's have worked out. But we'll have to see what happens here. We do have Jhin locked in right now, which is interesting, giving them 2 AD carries. It might just be a Lucian, it might be a Jhin mid lane. I don't believe that would be the case. It might just be a Lucian mid lane. But we'll have to see where the people end up. And we've got Soraka top, by the looks of things. It does look very confusing about where everyone's going right now. I'm going to have to see where the swaps end up and to be honest what summoners are chosen. But Soraka has EP top, and I don't believe that's good enough against a Renington. We do have Swain coming in, and this is something you were talking about just now, where Swain is the mid laner's main. He is a very, very punishing champion if he can get out of his weak level early levels. So it's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of that, because if he doesn't get out of these weak early levels with the Rod of Ages, or I suppose an Abyssal these days, but I do think he needs the mana, so you don't want to get Catalyst tier and kind of keep that mana going. He is just never relevant in the whole game, and we do have the safer pick of Lux. Nope, back to Swain. Swain locked in, and let's see how things are swapped around here. We've got double TP on GGT side, so it's going to be quite interesting. To be honest, if they took away their smite, they might just what they could actually do, to be honest, what they could do is they could throw the Nidalee in the mid lane, and she just instantly clears the wave, goes off to the jungle, picks up the red buff, comes back, instantly clears the wave, goes and jungles like that. And that would be very interesting to see. She would be able to pick up the Runic Echoes. I do think that's very, very off meta, but then that would give you 2 AD carry supports in either lane, which would definitely mess with Mad Triqster in terms of adapting to it. However, that said, Renington is actually able to kind of handle a lane like that just with his wave clear under the tower. and he would gain the levels and eventually be able to all in at about level 6, 7. So it could backfire horribly, but at the same time, it would be very interesting to see if that's the case. I do think it's going to be rather something like, well, no, the double teleport sticking in. Oh, Ignite from Nautilus, there we go, it has changed out. It is supporterless and Soraka top. On the other hand, we have triple Ignite from Mad Triqsters now, going to punish that early aggression, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Renekton Ignite versus Soraka, that's definitely going to be a problem for her. I don't think that matchup going too well, actually. I'm very interested that he went for that, or he went for that. iFlying went for that. That said, I think what I said so far during the Champ Select kind of holds up. I think Swain could actually do some decent damage to Jhin if it is Jhin mid.
Well,
if it's Lucian mid, I have a lot less. But yes, what do you think, Rob?
what I'm hoping is that it's a Swain versus Jhin mid, so the purple team gets more heads up. Because Jhin doesn't do well against champions with slows and more CC.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
And the Soraka top, I'm really curious if it's coming through, or that it's just a top lane Nautilus and a Soraka support with TP. They did mention in the first chat banter that they would pick Soraka top if they won the first game, so...
Okay. Well, Soraka top is actually somewhat legitimate at the moment. They buffed her...
I think they buffed her silence?
No, they didn't buff her silence, they buffed her Q, but I can't remember if what they buffed is actually part of the Q or not. Her Q, not that I remember the name of it, if it lands on a champion, it heals her. And now that has an AP ratio. They buffed the AP ratio. So she can actually sustain in lane like that, and just use that to sustain in lane at the moment. So if you can land those consistently, which against a Renekton you should be able to, you would be able to eventually harass him out. But a Renekton has got such great all-in and engage, he basically, and they buff Renekton as well now with his slice generating fury. He would slice in, be silenced, walk out of that, and carry on hitting the Soraka. And that's really how that's going to go. There's no other way that really can go. So it's going to be Soraka getting bullied quite substantially in the top lane. If Jooms is even half as good a top laner as iFlying is, if that is indeed the matchup. That said, Swain Jhin should heavily favor Swain, just because, as you say, Jhin is very weak to slows and CC. And with the Cocoon as well, it's going to be a nightmare. On the other hand, if it's Lucian will run circles around Swain. Swain won't be able to catch him.
Yep. Well, then again, the bot lane Jhin wouldn't be that great either, because Vayne can easily just deny any of his skills.
Yeah, and Braum landing any form of CC on him is also painful.
Yep. So either way, Jin's kind of screwed.
Yeah.
But it's League of Legends, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Anything can... I don't know, I've run out of words.
I don't know the song.
Yeah. I can't believe it was nominated for an Oscar.
What?
Yes, it's been 2
You've gotta
years
be
and
kidding.
I still can't believe that song was nominated for an Oscar.
It would explain why Leonardo DiCaprio only got his Oscar now. It's all rigged, it's all rigged.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm really curious, about the Jhin. I haven't seen him a lot in solo queue at least.
He is somehow very, very strong, and I can understand why you can see play in the LCS, because if you can get the correct communication going to have peel for him so that he can be as long range as he sometimes wants to be, and to have time to reload and get his fourth shot off, which is where all the damage comes from, he is brutal. But then in solo queue, I've seen him as well, and that I don't understand, because he's so immobile and he's so easy to push to the tower, and he's so hard. He's actually really difficult to farm under the tower with. I've tried to pick him up myself lately, and he's very fun to play. I'm not too great with him, but I have been doing Essence Reaver. But I see right now that was what the early builds the pros were doing. But I see right now in LCS they rush Infinity Edge with him.
Because Sneaky is actually the top gym player at the moment, and he rushes the mana regen item. what's it called? Essence Reaver?
Yeah, he
so
does.
you can spam his Q a bit more.
Reckless does Infinity Edge as far as I know. And I've seen a lot of Infinity Edges in solo queue. But then what happens is when he crits, he gets move speed. So any crit you build on him increases his move speed and increases his mobility very, very much. So then he becomes very hard to deal with. But until he actually gets that crit item, he's very much nerfed in lane. He's ridiculously fragile. And it just seems that people can't... Again, I'm playing a little bit lower than I should be playing in my opinion. I'm kind of moving through the ranks, but I'm currently silver 1. And just seeing him go on these amazing killing sprees and getting like 3 items and then being able to just ulti at the back line and kill everyone is somewhat frustrating. Just because I know how weak and immobile he can be as a player. But then the other, I always thought it would be a case of like the team with him would need great communication, but maybe it's the team against him needs great communication just to punish him. We've got Jin going mid here, starting with the Doran's Blade against the Doran's Ring Swain. And Italy's probably going to be camping the lane first. Just as Jin is immobile, Swain is very immobile as well.
What do you think about Keystones on Renekton? Because this one's running Fervor, but what do you prefer?
I don't actually have access to the Keystones in the lobby here. How did you find them? I didn't actually check in the screen.
I checked the loading screen.
Okay, cool. No, I was just wondering if there was a way here. Yeah, no, Fervor is the one that increases your attack damage as you cast spells and abilities, right? And attack.
Yes.
Fervor Battle, yeah.
Oh, I get the idea. When you hit a spell, you get 2 stacks, so if you slice and dice, you already got 4 stacks.
Yeah.
So the rest of the skills do more damage, more burst.
I think, yeah, no, that does work. I think it's much of a muchness between Thunderlords and that, to be honest, because you kind of want to be you want to be playing as a caster, not so much as someone who's going to be standing and attacking. But then you're going to have the stacks from attacking the creeps. So when you see her cast the Q, which I'm going to check the name of right now, Darkwall. She's had that skill for ages. When you see her cast the Q, you kind of just slice and dice away and then slice and dice in type of thing. We've got Swain having his notoriously horrible early game, losing out to Jin, just going full on aggression. I think there's going to be a flash kill here. If he's not careful, yes, there's going to be a flash kill. Oh, yes, there it is. Yep. There's that amazing 4th hit from Jin, managing to pick up the kill. Swain not respecting that level 1, not respecting how poor he is at CSing, and Jin managed to pick up a full wave and the Swain. On the other hand, we've got Vayne coming in onto the Nautilus, Nautilus being stunned underneath, just in the brush there, Vayne not wanting to go into the brush, taking some harass from Lucian. And it does look like a very different game already, but again, a very early first blood. Level 1, in fact. We've got Braum now going under, he's being harassed heavily by the Nautilus, he is very, very low. And it doesn't look too great. But then we've got the Star Call landing on the Renekton, and I do think that's something he cannot afford to have happen. We've got Soraka popping her potion already, and Renekton managing to do some great harass, but he's also used his potion, and it's, again, not looking great here. With Elise now actually having a better clear, Nidalee going straight for the red buff again, going from blue-red, just like she did last game. Renekton not respecting the Star Call, and that's going to be a very tough lane for Dooms again, calling it right now, just because Soraka is able to basically stay on full health and sustain amazingly well, like Soraka's used to be able to give everyone else. Nidalee going straight for the invade again, getting the deep ward, looking for something to attack, and nothing's there, not even a Gromp yet. Gromp has just come up, she's now waiting for the wolves. Soraka now using the silence. Swain doing some damage there, and Nautilus is roaming. Here's the roam you were talking about, Rob. Renekton is going in on the Soraka, doing that amazing damage. It does look like Soraka's going to go down here. Elise is here to pick up everything. She has no hope. She is going to go down to the Elise. On the other hand, Swain managing to survive, getting that flash away, surviving the gang from Nautilus and Jin. That did leave Nautilus, Lucian alone in the bot lane, and it looks like Mad Triqsters just kind of tried to farm up just to a parity level, 8 CS behind in 4 minutes. Look at mid lane, it's something similar, 14 CS behind and a kill, where the Renekton is 10 CS up and an assist on the Soraka. So at least top lane is going his way now, despite an earlier call. Braum taking a lot of damage, His flash and ignite is up. Nautilus being counter stunned, but the silver bolt's not being procced. So that's a missed out harass there, and definitely a big problem. But look at the gold difference. It's 400 gold to GGT. Much more than it was at this time last game. I believe it was it was only 100 after the golds traded. Been doing some great harass in on the Swain. The Nidalee is right there in the Raptor camp. Elise is behind her. I don't think she's going to be able to get out too much here. Swain's going to try come and assist. Elise taking a lot of damage, likewise to Nidalee. The flash getting her out of the range of the, I believe it's Captive Audience. Sorry, Deadly Flourish. Captive Audience is the other skill. And saving her life. Well, not so much saving her life. I don't think it actually does that much damage, level 1. But definitely saving her some harass. Vayne very much battling to farm under the tower, as Vaynes are wanted to do, or wanted to do, I believe it is, early game. But I do think that it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. It's gone to 12 CS advantage to the Vayne and 22. Reddington's coming in on the Soraka. There's your Fervo battle doing some great damage. Soraka whiffing the Darkhold, getting no sustain there. And it looks like when Reddington gets his cooldowns off, he might just try again. Braum being a magnet for those anchors. Maybe he's something hidden under his mask, I'm not too sure. Maybe some extra weight to his punches, but just too magnetic for his liking. Soraka has already managed to heal up to 3/4 again. That's quite amazing. Reddington's doing great with the sustain game himself. But that gold lead is still around 300 right now. It looks to be remaining fairly stable, which is much, much better. The CS leads aren't snowballing out of control too much yet. Slice Dice coming in. Reddington getting stunned down, doing amazing damage in on the Soraka. However, Swain is very, very low again, and maybe Ignite was not the right call, and maybe something like Exhaust would have been a better one, because he's going back to base again to try and just get some life. On the other hand, Elise is coming in on the Jhin. She has to run through a creep wave and not able to get to him in time, but missing all the CS as well. Jhin coming in from the side. Elise is there. Jhin does have his ultimate. I don't think Elise wants to tangle there. Nidalee's coming in on the side, clearing off the ward. Elise is coming in to try and be annoying, frustrating. Nope, missing everything. Reddington taking some tower love, but not too much happening there. Soraka is coming back to lane. She has used her TP already. She is falling behind in CS for once. Doom's winning the lane quite handily. 14 CS, 1 assist. We do have Nautilus and Nidalee coming bot lane, going straight for the dragon relics of it. No, they're just dancing in front of it for some reason. I do think that was a free dragon, and they should miss the opportunity. Reddington laying a nice little trap here. He's going to slice and dice in. He's going to hit it. He's going to get stunned again by that silence. The Starfall landing, and the trade definitely favoring Soraka there. That cloth armor definitely helping. We've got Nidalee and Nautilus standing in on the river brush, waiting for the Swain. He has moved forward. They're going to go on him. Swain somehow getting, Nautilus somehow getting move speed. We have the Nautilus passive coming in. The Swain ultimate keeping him alive. That life gen is real, ladies and gentlemen. The Ignite comes in. So Nautilus going under the tower. I don't think he has enough HP to do it. Here comes Elise going to land the cocoon on the Jhin. Jhin taking some good harass, but I think that was the wrong target. Nidalee is now chasing the Elise, misses the spear. Jhin was ready and waiting with the ultimate, I'm sure. Nautilus is going to take 2 tower shots, and if he's not careful, get stunned. Soraka is going to miss the start ball. I apologize. And Swain is sitting in the mid lane, but however, he has no mana, and he still doesn't even have a catalyst at 8 minutes. This is not great. I have heard it said that you need a Rod of Ages by about 13 minutes for it to even be worthwhile. Elise is coming in on the Jhin. Jhin is going to be able to get the kill on her. Here comes the 4th hit. Swain has no mana to keep up that ultimate. He is going to go down. Soraka and Nidalee is going to go down under the tower to the Reddington. Sorry, I did not believe that 3-man gang was going to go south, but it did indeed do that. Reddington is 1-0-1 in top lane, looking very happy. Soraka, I'm not sure if she just didn't level her heal, but she seems very full health for having a champion die under the tower like that. So it's quite surprising that did happen. But at the same time, we've got the Stark calls coming in, keeping the Soraka healthy, but she just doesn't really have the damage to stand toe-to-toe with the Reddington right now. So I believe he's going to come back with possibly, well, I believe he wants a Black Cleaver relatively early. So we'll have to see how he goes into that. He's going for a Phage, so he is going on the way there, and that is going to help him just lay their wrath down there. That movement speed from those attacks are going to be very good. But look at the gold difference, however, it has ballooned up to 1,000 right now. It's 2-all, with Elise keeping better control of the jungle and GG2 not as on point with the wards as they were in the first game. Jin being given the blue. Now that's something I thought Jin might be alright in the mid lane, but his mobility made me worry a bit. Because he's basically a Vel'Koz with shorter range, which is not something you really want in the mid lane, but Trapton definitely making it work for him right now. We've got the Nautilus standing on a ward, probably looking to try and land his anchor again and see what happens here. We've got Elise coming in on the bottom lane for a gang. It looks like they think they're catching them out. Nautilus has gone in, he has overextended. Nautilus has to flash, he does flash away. We've got the Braum passive in, the Braum ulti, the Glacial Fissure coming in, knocking the Nautilus up. They are managing to pick up a kill there, pull the gold lead to 800, but Vayne did go quite low there. Lucian did use the culling, but not much came of it. We've got Jin coming in right now. He misses the first shot, he misses the second. He lands the second, but it wasn't on Vayne. He misses the third and lands the fourth. And Renekton again needs to start moving out of that circle. He takes way too much damage. It stops his whole combo. But he is landing some harass onto the Soraka. That silence circle is quite a large cooldown. We've got Elise coming in on the Jin, who is doing some amazing damage to her. The fourth shot's going to land. Dwayne does manage to pick up the kill. Elise does manage to get out with a sliver of health. They both have blue buffs now, and that's definitely good news for Elise's jungle and Swain's mid lane. We do have the Nidalee coming in along the side. She is going to land a spear onto Elise, I'm sure. She does have her spiderlings, however, which is great. Elise having to flash that, but managing to live to fight another. Swain coming around onto the Nidalee. He's not going to chase her. Never chase the Nidalee, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not worth it, especially with the Bushwhack passive, which I believe she still has. Are you right? Yeah, she does not. Sorry, it's called Prowl. Bushwhack something else. Definitely not worth it. You can never catch it down, especially if you're an old man with a cane. So it's now 4 for 2. It's a 400 gold difference. The teamwork of Mad Triqsters definitely outshining GGT right now. Soraka's map presence not as good as the Pantheon, despite the global ultimates of both of them, or pseudo-global in the case of Pantheon. But I do think I would like to see more aggressive dragons. We do have Nautilus coming in, throwing an anchor, saying hi, and moving back. Trepton very confused with that, holding his head in his hands right there. But if we look at the farm, it's 100 farm to 35 at 12 minutes. That's not very good for Swain. If we look at the rest of the CS, Lucian's 92 to Vayne's 72, so that's going the other way of this matchup. But Vayne does have an assist, and well, that's worth about 10 gold, so nothing too relevant here. Renekton battling in top lane again. I really would have liked to see a Hextech, sorry, not a Hextech, a Hex Drinker. Sorry, I went blank there for a second. A Hex Drinker, it really does, that magic resist really does mess with Mage's numbers. We've got Nautilus coming in aggressively, the Death Charge coming in, Vayne going to go down to the culling, not much that can be said there, and this is kind of going back to the, well, why don't the supports roam? Well, if Nautilus roams, that's fine, Lucian has mobility. If Braum roams, well, that happens. We do have the Lucian dashing over the wall. We've got Nidalee coming in onto the Braum. He is going to go down. The Glacial Fissure coming a little bit too late to save him. And I don't believe much else is going to be... And it's... And GGT bringing it back up to 4-4. We've got Ignite, very aggressive play going over here. We've got the Astral Blessing, I believe it's called. Coming in, Wish coming in onto the Soraka, the ultimate fuse, and to keep her alive. The Ignite helping, but not doing too much. Renekton falling back. Elise has now been completely shut down. The Curtain Call coming in and missing and whiffing and being cancelled early. We do have Jin picking up the Swain in mid lane, and this is fast rolling out of control for Mad Triqsters, despite being 4-2 just 5 minutes ago. If we look here, it's now 6-4, it's a 3k or 2.5k gold lead. Mid tower taking some very good harass. Vayne is looking to go onto the Jin, but Jin just tanked her for over half her health. We've got the first Drake coming in at 13 minutes. And we'll have to see what really happens here. We've got Renekton now picking up a Spectre Skull. I do think a more Mortius and Hex Drinker is definitely the way to go against the Soraka. But then I suppose it's also a case of like, what other magic to that? Well, you have Nidalee, so that also actually helps. So I definitely do think the Hex Drinker was the right call here. He is going Spirit, Banshee's Veil, Spectre's Cowl, which is going to build either into a Spirit Visage or a Banshee's Veil. We've got Nautilus doing some strong roaming here, managing to land in on a Spiderling, while Elise failing to clear either of those two wards by the looks of it. Yes, failing to clear either of those two wards, which is a problem. Swain dropping a pink to pick up both of them, so that does help him a little bit. And it looks like he's going to be given that blue again. Swain currently 1 and 2. He does not have his Rod of Ages just yet. So we'll have to see how that comes from there. Should see Nidley giving Jin the blue relatively shortly. However, Jin has finished off his Essence Reaver, one of his core items. Definitely will help his mid lane from now. Swain too far away to get that ultimate to do any real damage. Nidley throwing an ambitious spear. I apologize for my pronunciation this evening. But not much coming of it again. The lead has ballooned up to 3,000 gold, and the Spectre's Carl definitely helping the Rennington stay in lane here. And the slice and dice coming in, the Starcall missing the silence, used defensively, not actually hitting anything. Rock having to get away. We do have Jin Nidley going to pick up this Elise. There's not much that can happen here. Swain coming in, 3v1. He is definitely going down here. Death Charge coming in, follow up. Jin gets the double kill. Trepton is 5-1-1 currently. What's that, a 75% kill contribution. And they are now collapsing on bot lane, all three of them. So it's going to be a 4-on-2 very, very shortly. And I don't think much is going to happen here. However, Soraka looks like it's going to go down. Looks like she's going to go down to Rennington. In fact, the ultimate Dominus picking her up quite easily there. I do believe he cast a little bit late. I would have liked to see it a little bit earlier. We'll see what happens. We've got Braum face checking the Jin, or rather the Jin face checking the Braum. He is managed to get out. Death Charge was not used earlier, and Jin managed to pick up a kill there. Braum's going to stand in the middle of that Deadly Flourish. No, that's not Deadly Flourish. It's the other one. Curtain Call. Captive Audience, and Jin picking up the double kill. And there's the Captive Audience going off under the tower. They're going to do some wave clear here. It's 1 Drake to naught, 0 towers taken, 4,000 gold lead, but this bottom tower is not long for this world. And Soraka is now TPing into the top. She is looking to pick up the Zhonya's relatively early, while Renton carries on trying to finish off his Black Cleaver with his Serrated Dirk coming... sorry, not the Serrated Dirk. I actually can't remember what goes into Black Cleaver right now. Caulfield's Warhammer, Serrated Dirk, one of the two. It's a double longsword item, but he's probably able to pick it up when he goes back there. Doing some nice harass onto the Soraka. Third of her health for very little of his own. Does have the Ignite up, so he should be able to pretty much go back and come back in and pick up a kill relatively whenever he wants to. He's picked up a first 100 CS for his team at 16 minutes, relatively slow. Jin and Lucian sitting very pretty on about 133. So we'll have to see how this all turns out for Mad Triqsters. It's 5 to 10 right now. Rennington going in, the Ignite coming down, Wish coming in. It should have been reduced healing, but that did look like a very big chunk of someone as squishy as Soraka. Nautilus coming in on the mid lane. Flash, passive from Nautilus into a 4-man, 5-man gang. Soraka getting the assist from the earlier Wish, believe it or not. So, quite a full team participation there, but Rennington managed to pick up that kill there quite easily with the Fervor Battle, really enhancing his auto attacks. Elise repelling the last ultimate, that being Curtain Call, but she is managing to get out and pick up the spear. Spiderling did not save her, and Elise goes down 12 to 6, 6,000 gold lead. Rennington trying to pick up a tower, but taking too much tower love. Has to be really, really careful. Nidley's on his way. He needs to get out of there now. And now is too late, in fact. Here comes Nidley. They know exactly where he is. The spear is probably going to be blind and manage to pick him up. Nope, the spear missed. Ooh! Nidley coming in, doing some great damage. Dominus coming out. Nidley might die. No, the slice and dice. He went the wrong way. He missed the Nidley. And Lucian picking up the Rennington quite easily. Nidley using at least 2 of her 9 lives there and living to fight another day. But top tower is still up on a sliver of health. Swain trying to get some farm going. He can now just afford his Rod of Ages just before 20 minutes, which means he has to be alive for another 10 minutes to actually even make it worth it, or to fully sack it. And I'm not quite sure this game's going to go that long. If we look there, all the outer towers are down, or soon will be, and it does not look very good for Mad Triqsters right now. The gold lead, ballooning, I've used that term a lot, up to almost 8,000, and I believe with this Golem, nope, still 8,000, still just under 8,000. Definitely fast getting out of hand for Mad Triqsters. The last game I believe was 5,000 difference in 20 minutes, and this is 8,000 and climbing right now. So this is not going to be too good for them in the near future. If we look at Soraka, Soraka's all over the place, really, really struggling against the Rennington. We do have the Black Cleaver finished off for Rennington, and it looks like Well, actually, I can't actually tell if that's going into Banshee's Veil or Spirit Visage. We'll have to see. Not entirely sure which one he would want right now. I do believe Banshee's Veil might be a little bit better. Excuse me. Jin is currently 8-1-2. A KDA of 10 for his team's 13. Amazing. And Nidalee has got a KDA of 9 with 7 assists. We do have an amazing Culling coming in, but Nautilus overextending and not even as big as he is, surviving very long there. 0-2-8 now for Nautilus. Nidalee coming in, landing the spear onto the Braum, who manages to dash out. However, Swain missing the root. Nidalee getting the heal from Soraka. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Vayne coming in on the Nidalee, but having to face check the Jhin, condemning the Jhin away. Renekton going in on the Soraka, but could not stop the wish. We've got Cocoon coming in onto Tolbal. I can't actually read that right now. Belawa, the Lucian, sorry. So much for trying to change it up. And not being able to do much. Elise going down relatively easily there. Trying to fight and not get away. Probably trusting in her damage a little bit much. Elise going for a Leandries right now, which is very surprising, as there is only one tank on the team. But this second tier middle tower going down very much without an answer, and the gold lead just on 10,000. Sorry, what am I saying? My maths just failed me there. What is that? 8,000. Well, closer to 9 now, just after 20 minutes. Drake coming up, and it looks like it's going to be GGT second Drake relatively easily. I don't think Mad Triqsters can make it in time, even if they rush there to save it. They might force a fight, but they're not collapsing in. Vayne's in mid lane looking very exposed to the Jhin. Jhin landing the 2 ultis, 3 ultis, there we go. And that is the curtain call for Vayne. The spear coming down onto Swain. And Nautilus being able to see her, going to get caught by the root and the Cocoon. Swain going down, not yet, actually he does manage to get out, no, Piercing Light picks him up. Renekton coming in, Dominus full form, going in onto the Jhin. He needs another attack, Jhin going down to Dominus I believe, and we finally have some action in for Mad Triqsters, pulling back the gold lead to 8.6. We've got Elise coming in, trying to find something. Nidalee Spears holding them off. Baraka making her way slowly but sedately and serenely, I might add, from the top lane to join in. Wish is up, so she did not get involved too much in that fight. Braum trying to land some Winter's Bites to no success, but the wave clear of this Soraka Lucian, which is not something you'd expect from a top lane one, is actually just really good right now. Soraka has managed to finish with Zhonya's. Renekton is trying his best to keep the team going, and he has managed to go 4-1-1. Picked up a Kindle Gem, so it looks like it's going to be a Spirit Visage. Nidalee picked up a Rod of Ages now, in fact, 3 minutes after Swain did, so he is very much nerfed, considering that's her third item, and that's pretty much his first. Swain looking like he's going for a Zhonya's now, picking up the double cloth armor. Vayne in the bottom lane, after having finished her static shiv and a BF sword, which to be honest, I'm not too clued up on the Vayne meta. I know she used to want to rush Blade of the Ruined King always. It does seem like it's changed now to BF sword just being decent for that extra damage, but it'll be interesting to see how she makes it out of it. But then at the same time, there aren't that very many tanks right now, so she doesn't need the Blade of the Ruined King too much unless she wants to solo the Nautilus, which it will be very interesting to see, because I think it could be quite close. Especially with all the Nautilus. Nautilus coming in on the side, eating a Winter's Bite to the face, and walking off a bit scolded. On the other hand, we've got Nidalee walking into the Elise again. I believe this happened last game as well, losing half her health. Gragas did something like that last game for Dow, but Nidalee getting a spear in return, chunking Elise out for much of the same health. We have Elise coming around for her red. It's going to be quite interesting. Nidalee is clearing out the wards there. I think Elise might have just assumed it's gone, but it is still up. She does have a pink ward. I'm sure she can see if someone goes in there. But at the same time, it has kind of fallen back to this 8.5k gold lead. It seems to be standing quite static for now. Just while everyone keeps on trying to farm. Has Braum finished Face the Mountain? Yes, he has. Now, this is something I think that support should not focus so much on. Face the Mountain when you actually don't have health is not a great item. I see Nautilus has done it as well, and it's about a shield of 100, and when you're behind, I'd rather see something like a Frozen Heart or an Aegis, I suppose, even for Nidalee and Soraka it would help. In fact, Aegis might even give roughly the same shield to just the person who's shielding, and then some more to the rest of the team. So I do think some tank supports do overemphasize face the mountain early on. But we've got Elise doing some great damage to Jin. Literally coming in to pick up the kill onto the Elise. We've got Glacial Fissure coming in to knock everyone away. However, Jin and Lucian are just here and having their own way of things. And Vayne managing to miss the fourth one. Swain tanking it up. The fourth, the pause is me trying to remember the name of this ultimate, and it's Curtain Call. I got it right the first time and never again. And Vayne managing to dodge all four now, not needing actually just 3 to kill her. She got away very low there. Swain likewise got away very low. Thankfully he didn't hit the fourth one, otherwise that could have been quite awkward. We've got Rennington coming in here. I don't know if he hit the slice, but he is falling away, not going in, and taking that spear with his Spirit Visage a lot less. However, Nautilus coming in, Nautilus, Lucian, Nidalee picking up the Vayne quite easily with just one anchor. Anchor's weighing her down, no problem. We do have the Elise coming in now. Swain being caught with some damage there. Slice and Dice coming in. Rennington's dominance a little bit late. Trepton taking tons of damage. He is going down very quickly. I believe that was a double ignite on him. Nidalee running away for her life. I don't believe Rennington should keep on chasing. You cannot catch a Nidalee. And he has fallen back now. But if you look there, Jin's going down 10-3-6. He's involved in 80% of the team's kills still, but he is also 33% of the team's deaths, so that's something he should probably need to work on. Looking at the gold lead, it has ballooned up to, I must really stop using that word, 11,000 gold, with Nidalee running around as she wants to in the jungle. Dwayne coming in, looking to be annoying. He has picked up the Seeker's Arm Guard with his Rod of Ages. Rod of Ages got another 3 minutes till fully stacked. He's still running on tier 1 boots, which is a bit of a problem, but so is Lucian for that matter, and I believe those are the only 2 tier 1 boots on the map. Yes, they are. So that's going to be interesting. Swain going to sort of the blue buff. That's definitely going to help his mana issues, but you can just see how slowly he's doing it. He doesn't have nearly enough damage to really contest the map like a Swain should, and this is the slow start I was talking about. Swain's not had a great start. He's got 85 CS in 26 minutes. He's 252. His Rod of Ages is ridiculously slow, and he's really battling here against this unconventional mid lane Jhin. On the other hand, Jooms, who had a really bad start last game, has just gone with this Rennington Soraka lane, this bullying that he was allowed to do, and he's 4-1-2 going full tank, and I do believe full tank Rennington has actually been improved in the current meta, so and just not as used yet. I don't think he's been discovered, rather, but I do think he is, because how the tank items are buffed, he does have the potential to do a lot of damage. Nautilus being caught out, not getting the passive from the Braum. Braum's ultimate, Glacial Fissure, completely whiffing, hitting no one, splitting the arrow in twain. We have Curtain Call coming in, doing lots of damage to Vayne. Nidalee picking up the call, Nidalee picking up a double, no, going down to the Elise. Lucian not killing the Swain either. It seems like they just want to kill the man with the cane, picking on the elderly, but he managed to wobble his way out of there quite happily. But again, that gold lead is, okay, it's actually pulled back a bit, it's no longer quite 11, 22-10, and they're on the inhibitor towers at 28 minutes. I don't think they can do much to stop this tower. Rennington does have Dominus up, he's going to go in. I do think Dominus is being cast now, they're going into the Nautilus. Nautilus is almost definitely going to go down, he does go down. Elise is following up into the Lucian. Lucian's going to manage to save himself, while Swain Rennington kind of just stood there while Jhin and Lucian ran away. The move speed of Jhin, once he gets crit going, is quite scary. He does have IE and the Energizer, Rapid Fire Cannon up already. And that is a bit of a problem. Swain going down for free, overextending into the range of the Lucian Jhin, something I never thought I'd say. They are both notorious for relatively small range, but Swain just can't really handle that. Curtain Call coming in, missing the Rennington. Rennington's in fact out of the show already, and he's managed to dodge around, but now he's standing there taking a lot of damage for free, and Jhin managing to just get the crit and pick up the Rennington so quickly. I didn't even realize he could do that. Looking at Lucian now, I just realized Lucian is 907, 1007. Swain is Jhin, sorry, is 1339. So this is definitely looking like it's going to be overs for the Mad Triqsters relatively shortly. That gold lead that was just was 11, then under 11, it's now gone up to almost 14. Drake going down 3 minutes after it spawned, or probably 2.5 minutes. But inhibitor down, Nautilus of all people, the support, going up top to wave clear. That's how confident they feel. They don't have to give those minions to anyone. And it's definitely looking like this is going to be over relatively shortly, which my voice is thankful for. Yeah, Swain still hasn't finished his second item. He has picked up some Sorcerer's Boost, which is always nice. Braum has started getting that Aegis of the Legion. Now he just needs the Locket of the Iron Solari. It does help a lot with the Nidalee and even the Runic Echoes, and it helps with the Nautilus, it helps with the Soraka, and to be honest, every little bit helps that they need right now. When you have to have 4 people to try to take out a super creeps early on for your AD carry are not fun to deal with, and you need a relatively fed mid laner to deal with them as well, just because of how inefficient it can be if you're not careful. Nautilus catching out the Renekton, Depth Charge coming in onto the Swain, knocking up the Renekton having to use Dominus to get away, Curtain Call coming in, Braum tanking it all, Glacial Fissure coming away, Braum going to go down, he does go down to the Curtain Call even through the Unbreakable, and that is a big problem. The red buff going over to Lucian, who is now 10-0-8, it looks like they're going to go straight for Baron, and I don't blame them. I think they could have even maybe got away with this about 7 minutes earlier. Jin standing on the side here, he doesn't look like he's going to be contributing much to the Baron. We've got the Nautilus tanking up, not too successfully, but he is tanking up fairly well. Baron does chunk him. We've got Elise and Swain coming in, Jin standing on the side. He is going to be able to dancing grenade out the Swain, who gets away on a fraction of a health. Elise instantly pops to Lucian Wish coming in, and it looks like Swain is trying his best to hide, but the creep wave is going to show himself. And he is discovered right now, and they're going for him. I'd be very surprised if Nautilus doesn't get this kill. No, Lucian is coming in. Nautilus landing an impossible hook through the creep wave. I actually thought it would be blocked by the friendly creep, but this is not Dodo, and that was not Pudge, so that did not happen. We now have the GGT team snowballing down onto the top tower like an avalanche, and I don't think that inhibitor is long for this world either. Soraka is in the enemy jungle, clearing out wards and taking the blue buff, which could be a very, very slow and arduous process. She's picked up an Ardent Sensor, but we have a fight. We've got Dominus coming in, Renekton's doing some great tanking, Unbreakable coming in, Curtain Call hitting the Vayne at the back, landing on the Braum, Jin picking up the Braum quite easily, and that's all of a sudden, boom, the tanky front line is gone. Vayne goes down and they surrender 4-0. That is the game, 32 minutes, so that was 37 and 32. The gold lead at 18,000 at the end, and GGT picks up a quick, a relatively painless, let's put it that way, 2-0, not so much quick, over Mad Triqsters. Hello. Are you muted or something?
Sorry about that, we had a power failure on my side.
Okay. So do we catch the end?
Yeah, I got the end and then my internet decided to...
Yeah, all good.
So, stream's stopping now.